I'm Joe Reed, and this is Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. Emily Connelly has been with me for the whole week, and we've been doing quite a range of audiobooks, haven't we, Emily?
We have. And today and tomorrow, I'm going in the direction of audiobooks for younger listeners. Today's is a teen audiobook called Everything We Never Had, and it's written by Randy Ribay and narrated by four narrators: JB Tadena, Ramón de Ocampo, Manny Jacinto, and Jesse Inocalla. And it's a really emotional story about a Filipino family's experiences traced over the century of their life in America.
That, first of all, is a great premise, and we should say Ramón de Ocampo is a golden voice, and people probably know Manny Jacinto from The Good Place.
Yes, and The Acolyte more recently. Really loved watching him in that. So I was intrigued when I saw this come up, and I liked that premise too of exploring, how this family's life changes over the course of a century and what their experience is like. And it weaves between the different perspectives. It doesn't like start in the 1930s and then go all the way to today.
Yes, so it's not sequential, and that means that the different voices weave in and out.
Yes, and we're seeing all of these characters when they are teenagers. So that really helps, make sense because it's a YA audiobook, but you've got Ramon narrates as Francisco in the 1930s, and he has just come over from the Philippines to America and is discovering it's not really what he was led to believe it to be, facing lots of racism and outright violence as he's working in the fields. And then we have the next point of view character, JB Tadina, narrates as his son, Emil, who's angry about being abandoned by his father. His father is fighting, advocating for Filipino and worker rights, trying to make the world a better place for his son, but in doing so, it's kind of leaving his son behind. So Emil is a very bitter character, and I think JB captures that, tension. And then we jump ahead again, and we have Manny narrating as Chris, who's Emil's son in 1985. And then again, Jesse is narrating as Enzo, Chris's son. So it's all about fathers and sons, each of them really trying to make the world a better place for their kids the way they can, not entirely learning from the mistakes that their own fathers had made. We have Jesse narrating as Enzo, Chris's son. It's the first year of the COVID pandemic, and Emil, the grandfather, is coming to live with their family because he was living in an assisted living home. So now he's coming to live with them to try to escape the illness. And so then we have the tension there of how Enzo feels about his dad and his grandfather, and how his grandfather and father are feeling about each other because they have sort of been estranged a bit.
So it's 3 generations living in the same house.
Yeah, so they're
Okay.
all there in that house together. Yep.
Okay, well, let's listen.
Sure. So this is from the very beginning with Ramon narrating Francisco's point of view as a farm worker in the 1930s.
This is Everything We Never Had. It's written by Randy Ribay, and it's read by J.B. Tadina, Golden Voice Ramon de Ocampo, Manny Jacinto, and Jesse Ioncala.
The fog cloaks the orchard in the cold pre-dawn darkness. It holds the Pajaro Valley close as a secret, reducing everything to a suggestion of itself. Muted shapes emerging, dissolving. The hills on the horizon. The shallow-rooted apple trees growing in straight rows. The silent brown men, young and old, shaking off dreams as they drift, unmoored, through the haze on their way to begin the day's work. Francisco Maghabol is among them, shouldering a heavy wooden ladder with an empty burlap sack slung across his chest. Faded hat, worn gloves, threadbare clothes. 16 years old now. 15 when he stepped into the belly of the boat that carried him from Manila to Japan, to Hawaii, to California. Across the sea to where the streets were strewn with gold. At least, that's what the missionaries and the teachers and the ticketing agents and the leaflets and the Hawaiianos had said.
Wow, it gives a great sense of the journey. And Ramon, let's face it, this man is a golden voice for a reason.
Yeah, and it's been a while since I've heard one of his audiobooks. That is partly what drew me to it because I wanted to hear how he handled this story, and I thought he did it beautifully. It's a tough storyline. They all have a lot that they're facing in their respective storylines, but definitely Francisco's is hard. And I think Ramon captures the emotion of that feeling of, you've come here to this country, you've left your family behind, you're supposed to be making something of yourself, and you're facing, you know, the violence of the white people that you encounter here.
That is Everything We Never Had. It's by Randy Ribay, read by J.B. Tadena, Ramón de Ocampo, Manny Jacinto, and Jesse Inocalla. Great suggestion. I'm actually going to get it for my godson. So thank you.
Oh, good. Well, I hope he enjoys it.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Great. Talk to you then.
The Sound of Storytelling Behind the Mic is brought to you by Brilliance Publishing. Follow Behind the Mic wherever you get those podcasts. Leave us that rating. It really does help. I'm Jo Reed. Talk to you tomorrow.